Handheld and mobile devices are increasingly being targeted by cyber criminals because bring your own device policies are becoming more common in the workplace. Companies have been allowing employees to use their own devices, smartphones, laptops, tablets, to take their work home with them. And the problem can become, although productivity can increase, risk increases as well, because company data may not be as secure on a personal device and can potentially be more easily extracted from that device. Some of the consequences associated with the breach of a mobile device would be hard to quantify, including customer turnover, stock churn, or stock devaluation, or loss of reputation. But some of the consequences may be actually insurable. So a cyber liability policy can provide coverage for the liability from either the company or their vendors having a security breach or a privacy breach, and the liability costs may be covered by a cyber policy. There's also the first-party costs, which are associated with a privacy breach. So those would be the costs to notify customers whose information had been compromised, setting up a PR campaign potentially to minimize the risk of that damage to your reputation. It could be compliance with the local privacy regulations. So some of those costs can be insurable. It is important to make sure that you look at the definition of privacy breach costs in your security and privacy policy and take a look at those limits, because oftentimes those can be sublimited. An insurance policy can not just serve as a risk transfer mechanism, but there's also services that are associated with that. So you can have access to risk assessment tools pre-breach. You may have access to risk engineering services. And then post-breach, most carriers have relationships with vendors who can come in and help you deal with a loss. So that could be anything from a breach coach, lawyers who will advise you on who to notify and when and how. They can come in and set up a call center and help you deal with questions from customers. There can be the PR firms can come in and help set up those sorts of services. And then, of course, it's really important to talk to your carrier about their claim services. How are those handled? How specialized are those folks? Are they attorneys? And what is their experience in general with security and privacy? The most important thing that a company can do to protect itself is to create an awareness among their employees of the importance of maintaining proper security, using VPN, encryption, or other password-protected approaches to keeping the company data secure. One of the most effective methods that we've seen is having a company conduct regular training for its employees. That would include having an escalation procedure in place so that if an employee were to lose their laptop, for example, they know who to call and how to report that incident. The other thing would be to make sure that you maintain really high controls around your vendors. Are they held to the same standards that you hold your employees to in terms of using your corporate data on a mobile device? So really, generally tracking the information that you're using on these devices, making sure people are aware of the movement of that information and how it's being controlled, and then always have a plan in case something happens. If there is that lost laptop, know how to act, who to call, and how to get the ball rolling on those notification procedures is really critical.